Merrily, 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 merrily on our way to nowhere in particular. You might be wondering where we're at. I'm kind of wondering the same thing. It's the Sometimes Vlog, yeah! It's a vlog that happens sometimes. Look at this, everybody. This is the seventh wonder of the world. This is the backside of the freeway. Right here we have the 55 freeway. I think it's Interstate 55 question mark. The 55 freeway that goes north and south through Orange County, California, and that's on the other side of this sound wall. And here we are down some road that I don't know the name of, just off of Tustin Avenue in Orange, California, looking at the backside of the freeway. And I gotta say, this freeway has an absolutely delish backside. Look at this. Every once in a while when you go down the freeway, when you look at these big cinder block sound walls, you always see these weird little wooden door cutout things. And I've always wondered, what the heck is that? Is that actually supposed to be a door? Is that actually supposed to be an access to the freeway? And apparently, it really is. Look at this thing. There's a ladder here and a door, and it obviously rolls back this way. I think on the other side, on the freeway side, there are actually locks that keep this thing locked, so I don't know that you can just push it back and roll it and just jump down off the ladder. And I don't really want to climb up there and try because my ankle is still, in fact, a little cripply. Look at this too. What another fun one. Look what we have here. The backside of the freeway's got a hole in it. Go figure, there's a hole in the backside. And when I was younger, I used to love crawling in these kinds of tunnels here and going underneath the freeway, you know, well, underneath the bridge, and the carpet sprung a leak, and the dripping from the ceiling. No. The animals are trapped, the barber come. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm botching the lyrics. Look at that. There's a sucker right there, drawing in suckers. When I was younger, I probably would have totally. Can you see that right there? Right there in the shadow is a sucker, like a lollipop, just sitting there in the shadow. And when I was younger, I would have been like, let me go in there and get that sucker. I'll put that in my mouth. No, I wouldn't have done that, but I would have climbed in this tunnel and gone under the freeway. This time though, I will behave myself better because somehow it's like the theme of the week. There's a massive, huge beehive underneath the edge of this tunnel here. And I don't know if you can see, but there are bees coming in and out of here at a quite rapid pace. And I am wearing all black, which I don't know if you know this. Bees love black. If you have a beekeeping uniform all white and put a black circle on you and poke the bees, they will all sting the black circle for whatever reason. And because I'm wearing pretty much literally all black all over me, I will also not be climbing down to the tunnel. So if I'm not climbing through the freeway hole and experimenting that because my ankle is still just totally crippled, which I'll talk about in a second, and I'm not gonna climb this tunnel, then what did I bring you here for? Well, I'm bringing you here because of this. This is a sign that advertises David W. Wilson's Villa Ford, which is where I keep taking my Mustang to every time something's wrong with it. You see, everyone's like, there's so much wrong with your car all the time. Your car keeps breaking all the time. What it is when I bought that car, I bought it all used and certified and whatnot for a reason. And as it gets closer and closer to my warranty going out, what it is not that my car is breaking any more rapidly than anybody else's car. It's that as the warranty is running out, I'm getting more and more picky about what I'm taking the car in for. If there's a little noise and a squeak and a thing and a vibration and any kind of anything that makes me suspect anything's wrong, I'm taking that car in while it's under warranty to have it like absolutely looked at over and over and over again. So it's actually me going, I'm gonna get the most out of this warranty and take it here over and over again. If I were to take my car to like Big O Tires or Sears or something for all these little things that were wrong with it, it would cost me money, but they'd fix it like in the same day and it wouldn't be a thing to broadcast like, oh, I had to go back to Enterprise to get me a rental car. So I have this thing on my thing where I can get a rental car. So every time the dealership takes my car, it takes a phenomenally long time with everything. You guys remember that I had to get my engine replaced in my car because something was wrong with it. I don't know, that actually was a big deal. And I took it to this place and they had my car for 10 weeks. And then a week later, something else was broken and I had to bring it back and they're like, oh, it'll take another week. Like, I've had to go into this place literally screaming because of how long, like they just very slow with the car. So the reason why it seems like I've had more car trouble than I had is not because my car is a lemon, it's because the place I keep taking it to doesn't often have super wonderful service. I hate to be negative, but there it is. That's actually the honest truth of it. But anyways, once again, there's a little problem with the AC or something, and I was like, do you know, it's not really blowing that cold, and I'm just gonna take it in and have them do the whole inspection all over the car again, because I'm at 96,000 something miles, and I'm like, right, before the end of the warranty. So as a result, I have yet another rental car, and because I'm all in black, I had to get a black rental car, and the only black rental car available was something pretty righteous. It's this. Look at this, everybody. Now, 2 years ago, if you've been following me for a long time, when the Sometimes Vlog started, it started about 2 years ago, because I was going on a road trip, well, a half plane, half road trip with my good red and lecherous friend, Tyler, the rock journalist, Evans. And we flew to Missouri and drove from Kansas City all the way to the Mississippi River in a rented Fiat 500, just like this one, but it was bright yellow. So as soon as she's like, we're kind of low on cars, you don't mind if I put you in a Fiat, do you? I was like, a Fiat 500? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, no, it's fine. You just have to have a sense of humor about these things. So of course, in addition to the other stuff I was talking about the other day, just like the other grown-up stuff that's going on, that I've gotten back from France, and I have all this stuff to deal with, like taxes, and I still haven't really started that. And I've been cleaning out my room and reorganizing my storage, and I've got this leg injury, which is really starting to bother me. I now had to take my car in a couple days before my birthday here, 2 days from my birthday, and get this rental Fiat, which is fine, right? It's pretty cool. It's a little smart car. The thing is that everyone says, oh my gosh, you're so much taller in person when they meet me, because what you guys don't realize is I'm only this big on your phone. If you're watching me on your phone, like some people, honestly, hey, not to be gross, but a lot of people are like, hey man, I watch your vlogs every day when I'm taking a poo. I just go in there on my phone or on my lunch break and I watch. So a lot of people will watch me on their phone, and when they meet me and realize, like, dang, you're tall. And they also don't realize I'm holding the camera up above me, usually so I can gesture at things because I'm tall. Now, if I were short, we could look at whatever was up and behind me and it'd be this tree, but I'm actually kind of tall. I'm like 6 foot-ish. 6'1" in the morning and 6 foot by nighttime. So I'm looking down all the time. So you're looking down at me, and as a result, everyone thinks I'm like 5 feet tall or something. No. I'm 6 feet tall, and this Fiat 500, I don't know if you're familiar with the Fiat 500, is a little bit of a tiny vehicle. I swear this thing could fit, well, let's see. This thing could fit on the sidewalk. This is a sidewalk car here, ladies and gentlemen. This thing could cruise, I'm pretty sure, down the sidewalk. It might not get that narrowest piece next to the telephone pole, but I'm pretty sure on this part, you could just cruise around, beep, beep, beep. If there was another driveway ramp here, I would literally try to drive this on the sidewalk. It's quite small. So when I got it at first, I was kind of annoyed, like, really? Like, that's what I have to be put into? But then I thought, it's actually kind of funny. Like, it's actually kind of funny. This seat is all the way back, and my knees are quite bent inside of this little tiny vehicle. The seat is touching the other seat. You can see here. The Fiat 500 is like a smart car, but it's like, I think, better designed. It's all cute and Italian, and it's got little circular things, and it's like a what's his face, with the one eyeball from the Odyssey and the Epicacy, those things. What's it called? A cyclops. It's like a cyclops staring at you with the thing, and it's got such a round knob, and everybody loves touching a round knob, and it's got the thing, and it got the gears and the thing and the stuff, and it's got the aux thing with, you can put your aux card in here and listen to some tunes, and like, it's a fine thing. But if you can't see, I'm pretty thin. Like, I have thin shoulders, and I'm like a skinny, like, snake hips type of dude. Like, I'm very tall and skinny, slender, I shouldn't say. I'm not always skinny, but slender individual. And like, you can see my narrow shoulders are reaching like across the aisle over here. There is usually a, what's it called? An armrest. It's about this thin, and it comes out from right here, and there's only one because there's not enough room for two. So Tyler, who's a little more robust than I am, shorter, but more broad, he's more a broad of an individual. Him and I were squeezed into a vehicle this size with all of our luggage and cameras and things stacked up to like about here in the back, in a bright yellow version of this tiny car, driving across Missouri, where we were entirely surrounded, much as we are in Orange County sometimes, by huge, look at that little Honda Passport. Looks like a giant car compared to this thing. We were surrounded by huge, what I like to call do-what trucks, or some people call bro trucks. But if you're in the South, you know, do what? I'm like, hey man, how's it going? Do what? I didn't say to do anything. Do what? Do what? Do what trucks, right? Rednecks are always like, do what? Do what? Now, if you're from the South, I'm not making fun of you. We're from the Midwest, but a lot of you do say that. That's a thing. I mean, we say like and literally when we don't mean literally, and we say like every 5 seconds in California. But in the Midwest, y'all like to, and the South mostly, people like, especially Texas, which I know isn't the South. Don't argue about regional, whatever. But just the other parts of the world, country-ness place, y'all like to say, do what? Do what? Do you want some pizza? Do what? I didn't ask you to do anything. I just wanted to know if you liked pizza or not. Anyway, I'm not joking. I'm not trying to pick on you. But look at this tiny little car. It's like my hand is bigger than the rear view mirror. It's just this little inky dinky car. And at first I was so annoyed, like I can't even fit in this car barely. And I'm gonna have this car while they work on my other car. And I thought, but then I was like, instead of like, you know, like something cool, I don't even know what else would be cool. I like my car. I don't want a rental car at all. So I was just annoyed with the whole situation in the first place. They couldn't just fix it today. And then I was like, but then I just started laughing because I started remembering all the good times squeezing here with Tyler in a bright yellow car, traveling across Missouri, getting honked at by all these trucks who were like looking down at us. Like the guys were looking at us like, what in the world is happening? Then when we got out of the truck, or the little Fiat at this hotel in Shelbina, Missouri, excuse me, this woman inside was like, oh yeah, is that y'all's little Twinkie car? Because I pulled in the motorcycle parking because that was the only parking in front, right by the front door. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's us. She's like, y'all look like it looked like a little Twinkie with y'all little white boys coming out of that yellow car, like a little Twinkie car. And I was like, oh, okay, where do I park it? And she's like, you can just leave it right there. She let us park it in the motorcycle parking. That's how small the car is. It's so weird. But anyway, so I wanted to show off. Oh my gosh, it's hot in here. Now I know why you're not supposed to leave dogs in here. By the way, happy National Puppy Day. Don't leave your puppy in a hot car. I don't know why I would leave myself in a hot car, but I definitely wouldn't leave a puppy in it. Now, just to experiment here, I am sitting down. My back is out of the car, and my feet are out of the car. And that's just my lower body. Like my butt is probably a few inches from being out of the car. And like you could never lay down in here. Compare this to like a van. I used to have a van, and in my van, I could lay down inside of the van. So this is a good several feet narrower than what I was used to driving my whole life. There are probably people looking around in this neighborhood going, what the heck is he doing? There's another thing I want to show you guys really quick, and that'll be it before I cruise myself home and try desperately to rest, which is this. Look back here. Park 72 condominiums. And now I see what street we're on because the address over here says something 100 East Helm Avenue. So we're on East Helm Avenue in the city of Orange here. And I want to show you guys something that there is a lot of in Orange County, and I've been thinking about how to do like a random land video of this, and I haven't quite figured it out. Speaking of which, there's a smart car right there. And the only difference really between a smart car and the Fiat 500 is the Fiat 500 has a bigger caboose to fit, theoretically, to have a back seat in. You could probably put infant car seats back there without any trouble, but fitting 4 adults in there, I honestly, that's something that we got to try because it seems ridiculous. Look, what a fun one. What a fun little car. But look at this. Orange County is full of, well, Southern California in general, but Orange County specifically is full of this. Do you notice anything about the architecture of this little condo development? And I don't know anything about this neighborhood. It might be a great neighborhood. It might be a terrible neighborhood. I'm assuming it's just an average, boring, lower middle, working class neighborhood. I mean, they live in condos. They're doing pretty well for themselves, right? Better than me. So here's this little place. Look at this rad architecture. Orange County is full of these relics of the past. Do you know what this is? I know this ugly wrought iron fence is right in the way, and there's not really a way to get around it. Hold on, let me poke my arm through here. Trespassing. Look at that. That right there. That right there is some sweet mid-century tiki modern architecture. That's some tiki pop architecture right there. I once went to this presentation this guy named Chris Jepson gave. He's like, he works for the Orange County like Historical Society, the archives or whatever, and all that stuff. And he gave this talk one time about tiki architecture in Orange County. And here's a super fine example. Like, look at the Polynesian theming to these buildings right here. And you can see these old big palm trees left over from when this place was brand new in the 50s and the 60s, especially, actually more the 60s.
South Pacific had come out and all that tiki stuff, and you guys know I love tiki stuff. If you've never seen it, youtube.com/livefasttypoor, my other channel, I have this video called The Real Life Tiki Room. Please do yourself a favor and Google The Real Life Tiki Room. Not because I'm so charming in the video, I actually look like a weird hobo in that video, but because it's an interview with two of the pretty much the founding fathers of tiki pop in the United States. These two guys, Leroy Schmaltz and Bob Van Oosting, who started this place called Oceanic Arts. They sold a lot of stuff to Disney. They were a big influence. They pretty much, I mean, they built half the Polynesian resort, it seems like, or designed half of it in Walt Disney World. These guys had a huge influence on Disney's tiki stuff, and then therefore on us, Gilligan's Island, all kinds of crazy stuff. Go check it out, a lot of history there. So I love tiki stuff, and I love seeing stuff like this. In the 60s, there was this whole movement of selling apartment buildings and houses. There were houses too, but a lot of apartment buildings and condo complexes like this that were really geared at like the swinging, the swinger, single swinger life, like coming, not the way you're thinking, but you know, like swinging 60s type of style, like come and live in this groovy Polynesian, like laid back, come live like a laid back lifestyle and chill, like Hakuna Matata, which is not, it's, anyway. Look at that though, there's this huge A-frame hut right here with that curved roof line and that crazy like Tahitian roof line and those old school 60s balls in there for lighting and this cool, awesome, like, what do you call that? That like really cool boomerang shaped pool right here. There's a lot of really awesome 1960s stuff going on here. When this place opened, I'm sure it was covered in much shorter versions of these palm trees and a lot of tropical plants, and it was definitely like all the old postcards and advertising for places like this were always showing them being like this really cool, like if you move here, you're gonna have this really awesome like laid back lifestyle. We're gonna have luau's out here, and I bet you anything that there was a luau or two held on this grassy space. There were probably some old school tiki torches back here back in the day. Lots and lots of like Polynesian landscaping and different stuff. And I'm willing to bet in almost every case, buildings like this and pool areas like this in particular, in apartment complexes in Southern California, I'm willing to bet that there used to be some tiki statues out here all over Southern California, especially in the 90s, and not as much now. There used to be whole forums, there still are, there's still some, Tiki Central and all these different internet websites, tiki forums, but there used to be even be books like road trip guides to tiki stuff. And Southern California used to be kind of a mecca because people would come do tiki, people would come do tiki archaeology and come to places like this and search and hunt all over for tikis. I've been to this one once before, I think, looking for tikis, couldn't find any tikis, did find an angry Samoan guy who chased us away from here, so that was kind of Polynesian experience. It was way down there with a friend of mine. That was years and years ago. I haven't been here since, but I just wanted to come and show you, look at this. Now, as time went on in the 70s and 80s, and like the whole tiki thing was like really considered very cheesy and corny and fake and kitsch, and people were into like Vietnam, man, grow out your beard and like burn your bra and hate on the government, and like we don't want to have, we hate fun and love. Like you went from like Summer of Love to like I Hate Love and stuff, and like Imagination is Dead and whatnot, and John Lennon and Yoko Ono, and people were just like, oh man, like the cyborgs are coming and the Japanese people are making stereos, and like the whole world is coming to an end. The whole tiki thing wasn't as popular anymore, and so places like this had to look like, had to tone it down. They would like tone it down. It wasn't worth upkeeping the old tiki statues. As they started to like rot away or be sun damaged or whatever, they would get thrown out. The boomerang shaped pools would be remodeled and not be as cool. And so mid-century architecture in general became very tacky and cheesy. In Orange County, everything that was mid-century like this started to become very run down. You can see this place is not like the best, the most absolutely best maintained place on the planet, but it would become more run down like this, and you have to add wrought iron. You can see all this very like 70s brickwork and stuff as they try to tone it down and make it look nice. And a lot of places like this work really hard to kind of cover up their tiki roots. So this one you can still see like there's a very old school screen door that still kind of fits the Polynesian, but you mostly see metal screen security doors, which would have been like much more modern. And you see like the boring brass mailbox and like the banal, like lame kind of 90s landscaping around here, very boring, and the boring trees that have obviously replaced more of the tropical flavor here. And that was just to try to make everything look a little more cookie cutter, a little more suburbia kind of thing. But once upon a time, Orange County was full of really, if you'll excuse the word, I can't think of a better word, really just bitchin', 50s, mid-century, just really cool, modern, funky, themed architecture, especially because Disneyland was here, I think. It kind of lent itself to some more creativity in terms of like design, and it was Southern California, and it was already like very exotic in people's minds. So we had a lot of like really cool space age stuff. The whole Googie architecture movement really started from down here in Southern California. So you had all this really cool space age stuff, like in Anaheim there was a lot of hotels themed around Disneyland, but that seems a little more obvious that it would be like that, you know. You'd have Space Age Inn and all these different things, and like different, like obviously castle themed ones and stuff, and there still are some themed hotels down there, but this is something a lot of people don't know about that live in other places, that we had all these themed areas. Anyway, Chris Jepson was giving a talk one time about this. He's the curator of Orange County Archives or something like that. And I went to it, that's this historical society, and I was sitting there listening to him. He had interviewed this lady who was from Samoa, I think, or Tonga, one of the two, and she came here, not that they're the same, she came here as a little girl in like the 70s or something, and she said she was so excited because she thought there must have been a lot of other Polynesians living in Orange County, because she saw all the architecture and she thought, oh my gosh, like there's got to be a lot of Polynesians living here because the architecture is so Polynesian. I'm gonna fit right in here. So anyway, I thought it would be worth sharing a little bit of that cool 1960s epic architecture. I always drive by and see the roof of the A-frame from the street over here at Jack in the Box off Tustin Avenue. So if you're ever cruising down Tustin Avenue by the Orange Mall or by Villa Ford, take a little cruise down Helm. We're right in the middle of the street here. And take a look at this, 60s era pool. I don't know what year this building was built. Maybe one of you can find out and tell me. But that right there is pretty epic. Park 72 condominiums. Where they get that name from, I have no idea. And it makes me really, really wonder if back in the day, it used to be called something else, like the Exotic Palms or something. And by the way, if you're interested in tiki stuff at all, and if you're interested in this old kind of architecture, Polynesian pop type stuff, and you want to find some of this stuff, you want to be a tiki pop archaeologist and all that, my recommendation for you, if you're in Southern California, is whenever you see these huge groups of these tall Mexican fan palms or other really tall, skinny palm trees like this, jutting out above all the other normal sized trees, that's usually a place that's been around for 30 or 40 or 50 years, the long enough time for these palm trees to get really tall, and they're usually clustered around places like this. More and more of them are being cut down, so you can see this whole half of the condo development has had all their long palm trees removed. A few survive behind the pool and in the public areas, but these things are not really like water efficient. See, here you can see one, that palm tree here, this one is probably more like from the 80s or the 70s, and see how short it is? These are probably from the 60s or 70s, maybe as far back as the 50s, although I highly doubt that. But you can see that. So that's one way of hunting the old, really retro, really cool spots that would have been really cool places. Look for the huge tall palm trees. When I was a kid still, like in the mid 80s and late 80s, and even the early 90s, Orange County was covered with just swathes, just big areas of these palm trees, and there'd be all this really cool mid-century stuff around them. They'd be surrounding all that kind of stuff. Now, slowly going the way of the buffalo. But every once in a while, you can find a place like this where there's like a cool remnant of that old school 1960s flavor, and I love that stuff. What I wouldn't give to be a gigazillionaire, buy this whole thing and like completely redo it super tiki themed, and then start renting out places, like buy the condos but rent them out as apartments, like epic tiki apartments. Like, can you imagine how cool that would be if somebody actually bought one of these places? I don't know how much that would cost buying them from owners, but can you imagine if somebody bought, I always think of stuff like this, if you could just buy a place like this and do. I worked as an apartment manager for years. I worked for this big property management company, and I worked for them for a long time, and my mother worked for them for a long time and stuff. So I was in property management, and let me tell you, the name of the game there is all Swiss coffee colored thing, beige carpet, make everything look dull and boring, don't let anything look different. We want it to look exactly as boring as the competitors, so everybody fits in together, and we're just competing over like location and price and all that stuff. And I always thought to myself, man, like somebody needs to come along and theme a place out like hardcore, Because I really believe this. Maybe I'm giving this away, and if one of you is a millionaire real estate developer or interested in that, give me a call. I would like to work for you on this. I really feel like somebody should go full on theme a place like this out. Buy a place like this, theme it to the nines, go crazy theming it, and rent it out as an apartment complex and see how it goes. Because I really think, this is 2016 now, we have the internet, people who are interested in a theme can find it, so it's not like you're like forcing it on the neighbor, it's not like the old days. I really think a themed apartment complex would be so cool. I mean, think about all the activities you could have in that space right there. You have so much room for activities, and just like getting an apartment next to the pool, you know what you're in for. You get an apartment next to the luau area? Come on, bro. Dude, a themed place, a themed tiki apartment place. How cool would that be now? Question for you. Okay, here's the question and answer portion of our question and answer vlog, which is not what this is. Would you live in a themed place? Like, let's say somebody gave me $30 million. I have no idea what this would cost. Let's say somebody gave me the money and I bought a place like this, or had a place like this built. A really cool tiki apartment. By the way, there are lots of tiki apartment complexes left in Southern California where you can still like hunt for the theming, but we're gonna do vlogs and stuff at them later. That's why I'm ignoring that. Would you live in a place like that? If you were looking for an apartment, you found out there was a really cool themed tiki place that once a month had a cool luau, like a potluck luau, and we got the hula girls to play, and there was just this really cool tiki themed place, and Don Ho would come. We had a little community center where we had little tiki concerts and whatnot. Would you come and live in that? Would you live in a place, I mean, you could theme the inside of your house whatever you wanted. You don't have to have tiki inside. You could go full haunted mansion, but the outside of the place was all jungle, like Adventureland at Disneyland, like all jungle plants and tiki area music playing, or fountains and stuff, like just really themed out. Would you pay a little bit more, $200 or $300 more than a different place? Maybe less, maybe $100 more, whatever the maintenance would cost on like the bushes and stuff. Would you pay a little more to live in a place that was like super epically themed like that? Like you could almost take themed like album cover photos. That's how themed it would be. What do you think? What do you think? I'm really curious. As for me, I've spent about 30 minutes now standing up doing this vlog, and I have to get off of my foot. I have not yet found a doctor. I have this new health insurance. I have to pay full price to see a doctor. I traded doctor visits because I don't go to the doctor very much. I traded not having a thing for a doctor in exchange for like free generic prescriptions and free this and that and the other thing. Like I changed, so I have to pick a new doctor, because even though I've had this health insurance for months, I have never picked a primary doctor. So I got to go through this whole process of going to the doctor. If I go to an urgent care, I got to pay full price. It'll be like $200 or $300. So in the meantime, I'm staying off my ankle. It has gotten worse. I'm now thinking, thanks to the doctor, we have a free doctor line for my health insurance, so you can call and talk to a doctor, and I've called now twice. I'm now thinking, based on what they're thinking and based on a lot of other people who've hurt themselves and had experience, what it really sounds and feels like is I have some kind of like snapped or strained or sprained or hurt tendon up in the side of my ankle. Like it's the other ankle, but up in this area. And when there's any kind of lateral movement, side to side movement on my ankle, it like feels like it's exploding. I don't know how to explain it. If I stand on it for a really long time, at first it wasn't hurting unless it was that explosive feeling. Now over the last couple of days, if I'm just up and down on my feet for like, let's say 40 minutes, so a little longer than this vlog will be, it starts to hurt excruciatingly bad. If I'm on my feet for like an hour, like walking around a store or anything for like an hour, and I don't sit down, it will be tender to the touch everywhere. Not swollen, not purple, no bruising, no internal bleeding or anything like weird like that, just sore from standing on it. So I have a brace on it. I've been wearing the brace, and it keeps it from going side to side, so it mostly keeps it from like exploding and hurting and pain. But pretty much I'm so paranoid of having to get a cast on it, because I broke my leg once and had a cast for like 6 months, and it was the worst, most claustrophobic. I can't even breathe. I'm getting anxiety just thinking about it. Like the most claustrophobic feeling. I hate having a cast. I hate it. And I'm really paranoid of that happening and seriously injuring myself. And I know I'm gonna be on my foot this weekend because it's my birthday, and somebody very, very special is coming, I think tomorrow night, and we're gonna be having something so excited. I know I'm gonna be on my feet running around, especially to film the vlog and stuff. But in between the vlogs, because people are starting to get on me like, Justin scarred, we can see you running around doing stuff, and we're all in the comment section telling you better rest. I am. I appreciate everyone's concern for me. I promise you that in between any vlogging or Snapchatting or anything, I promise you that I'm really trying to force myself to stay off my feet. So for the next few days, maybe the next week or so, especially until I see the actual doctor and I get all the doctor stuff and insurance figured out, until I actually see the doctor and they look at it and tell me I'm cool, I promise you that I will be resting. So I might look a little more boring than normal. I might be a little more boring. Might have to do some vlogs from my room or something, or do some mail vlogs or something like that. But so it may be a little more tame for the next week or so, but I promise you it's for a reason. And if I wasn't honestly a little worried that it was serious, I would be completely ignoring it and running around like a crazy person. This guy knows, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But I honestly am actually getting a little worried. Not that I broke my leg or anything, but just that like, oh, I don't want this to become any more serious because it's not getting better. So I will be going to the doctor and all that. No need for alarm, no need for concern, but I just thought I would let you all know that's what's going on. So I'm being a little more chill than normal. I'm trying to avoid, that means trying to avoid Disneyland as much as possible. This person who's coming, well, I want to go to Disneyland with them and all the stuff, some cool stuff. So I'll be at Disneyland tomorrow night probably, and I'll probably be there on my birthday on Friday and Saturday. I'm sure I'll be going to the park, but because I know that, like, I'm just trying to rest up so that it's not all park all the time. If you're in a theme park all day, all night, you get pretty freaking sore anyways. And like in this case, I might have to get a scooter. I don't know how to do that. I don't want to be part of the problem, but I'm definitely gonna have to go and like walk 5 feet, sit down, walk 5 feet, sit down, walk 5 feet, sit down. Speaking of Disneyland, we have a guy that works in transportation. Look, he's got the Disneyland, he's got a cast member here, he's going to work. We got a cast member right here. We got a cast member right there. Look at that. In the old days, by the way, this is for my Disney friends here. In the olden days, they used to have rules that you could not wear your costume outside the park, because as you know, Disneyland does not have employees as cast members, because Disneyland is a show, big themed show, and so you have to have your hair a certain way and you present yourself a certain way because you're on stage, you're not at work or on the sales floor, you're on stage. And so your uniform is called a costume. In the old days, you were not allowed to wear your costume out of the park, but I think the union and Disney had a big long fight over it at one point, and Disney kind of lost the fight, and so people are allowed to wear their uniforms or their costumes to and from work and stuff. So it's a funny thing, because in Southern California, you'll go here and you'll be like at the Walmart nearby or something like that, or Best Buy, which is just behind this place, and you'll see cast members that are just coming off work, or you'll see them at the bus stations and stuff, and they'll be wearing their dresses from New Orleans Square, or this guy will be wearing his transportation uniform or something like that. And it's funny because all my friends from Florida that come and see that for the first time are like, whoa, what the heck? Because obviously Disney World has cast shuttles and other things to get people home. You wouldn't have the city so close, so you wouldn't have cast members just walking home from their jobs and stuff like that. Where here you have that. Here you have cast members all over the place. Like here, cast members are your friends and neighbors. So always treat your cast members very well. And he's got a Mustang too. Who is that guy? Whoever that cast member is needs to be my friend. He lives in a freaking Tiki condo and he's got a Mustang. I want a Tiki condo. How much for a Tiki condo? More than I've got. Goals though, but maybe more of a house. I'd rather have a house than a condo, but I'd rather have a condo than a cardboard box. Look at that, he's living my dreams. He's got the Mustang. Man, I should get my Mustang and catch up with him at the red light, and then we can. Oh yeah. It is funny though. So anyway, I'm gonna be driving around this clown car all day and trying to keep my foot elevated and playing Nintendo games, because my brother gave me like an emulator thing and I've got all the Nintendo games to play just to keep me distracted. Like, here's something shiny, don't go walking around. That's what it takes to keep me from walking all around. So I'll be in my room doing that. By the way, I have switched from Periscope to Facebook Live now. I've been doing some tests. I'm still not using Facebook Live, like, hey, let's go ride Pirates of the Caribbean, or let's have a long Q&A session or anything. But I have started to play with it and test with it. So last night I was at dinner and tested it a little bit. I'm not saving any of the videos yet or anything like that. But if you go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/JustinScarred, there is a way to subscribe to the live feed when it's going on. But if you go follow me on there, like my page or whatever, and pay attention, I will be tonight doing some Facebook Live tests and the next night and stuff like that. So there'll be a few Facebook Live tests. I think mostly only tonight, and then the following week. This weekend there won't be that much going on. But just to let you guys know, I have started to play with it. And so far, I'm really enjoying it a lot more than Periscope. There are a lot of advantages, but we'll talk about that in another vlog. These vlogs always end up like, I'm like, oh, just stop in this cul-de-sac and show some funny stuff and show this really cool, interesting piece of architecture. And I'm sorry that I'm like really nerding. Like, everyone's like, I followed you because I thought you were gonna light yourself on fire and jump off the Empire State Building. No, that's probably coming one day, but when I'm more sad than I am now in my heart, that's just a bad joke. But I'm really interested in stuff like this. I love art, I love architecture. I'm really interested in weird, like, historical nuances and things like this. So I thought it was interesting. If you thought it was interesting, leave a comment down below and let me know if you made it all the way to the end of this vlog. Let me know what the secret code. See, Adam and I started that whole secret code thing in one of my vlogs, where he's like, if you made it all the way to the end, say hashtag #OFudge, and he still uses that one sometimes. I recently did alien slime, was yesterday's vlog. If you made it to the end of this vlog, leave a comment, go to Twitter, Justin Scarred on Twitter, 2 R's, not scared, Scarred. I'm scared of a lot of things, but I'm not scared of Twitter, so it's Justin Scarred. And leave me a comment that says hashtag Tiki Condo. Hashtag Tiki Condo. And to one of you that does that, I'm going to give away one of the livefastdiepoor.spreadshirt.com t-shirts to you. The Tiki one. There's a Tiki one, a Random Land Tiki one. Actually 2 different Tiki ones, and I'll let you take your pick of which one. But if you do that, one of you, I will pay for it out of my own. I have to pay for those too, by the way, and these. This is where they get these sweet hats from. But that's how I make my livings mostly, but I will pay out of my own pocket. Whoever made it through this vlog all the way in the end, not whoever, one of you, I will pick one of you at random. Hashtag Tiki Condo. And at some point today or tomorrow, I'm going to randomly go through and click on that hashtag and pick somebody. So hashtag Tiki Condo. Tweet me at Justin Scarred, something, hashtag Tiki Condo. Would you live in a Tiki Condo? Let me know on Twitter. All right, I love you all. I gotta go now. It's time to go home and rest this freaking ankle. And plus, I get to drive home in the clown car to do it. Okay, bye.